Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bowfishing Buzz presented by AMS Bowfishing. Season 1, Episode 5, Schmitty.
I can't believe it. We've 5 down already. Hopefully many more to come. It's been fun.
You know, I'm starting to kind of run out of fish stories to tell because we've got all this goofy white stuff on the ground up here and about 2 feet of ice.
Mm-hmm. It's ridiculous. The lakes right now got 2 feet of snow, and then you got a foot of icy slush underneath that.
But the weather forecast has temps in the 30s. That sun is staying out much longer now these days with the changing of the time. Spring ahead.
Soon and very soon, hopefully.
We're actually, Derek and I are going to be going down tomorrow.
Ooh! I'm not going to sleep tonight. I'm going to be so excited.
Yeah, we're going to go to some, try to find some open water and try to do a little bow fishing because I'm getting the itch really bad.
Doing these makes it worse. We talk about it. People are sending us pictures and suggestions.
Yep.
Yeah, the itch is bad now.
It is bad. But yeah, Derek and I are going to be heading down tomorrow here in central Wisconsin to do a little checking on some spots where we think there may be some carp, some open water. So if you're living in areas where there's a lot of snow right now, the temperatures are changing, the sun's getting longer, go check out some of those creeks that might start opening up where there's a little bit of a flow coming into those. We've even got a spot here in Wisconsin where there's some warm water discharges.
Yep.
Go check them spots out.
Yep.
Go check them out for some carp, and you'll have a blast.
Any areas that got some oxygen in the water, don't have ice on top, carp are going to flock to that.
Absolutely.
You could pick them up in numbers, too. I mean, you might shoot 2 or 3 fish in a couple hours, or you could shoot a lot of fish.
Absolutely. And that actually brings a point to a question, because... Of course, here in Wisconsin, you cannot release or throw back any fish that you shoot with the bow and arrow.
Yep.
So I get a lot of people saying, well, what do you do when you go, out on the ice and you're shooting fish? What do you do with those fish?
Yep.
We take otter sleds.
Yep.
And we fill the otter sleds up and we take them back into our trucks and take them home that way. So one of the questions was, you had a question that somebody asked on Instagram, I think?
Absolutely. He was wondering just what we do, and I think he was talking season-wide, what we do with fish disposal. If we go out and shoot 100 fish in a night, we've got a big, slimy, bloody, yucky barrel, what in the world do we do with all those fish?
Okay, well, first of all, when we are traveling to different states... we usually don't shoot 100 fish a night.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm going to just throw that out there right away.
Yep.
Because generally when we're going to different states to go bow fishing, we're going there to film.
Yep.
So we're not shooting a lot of fish.
If we shoot a fish, the next 10 or 15 minutes after that, we are using that fish as a prop in pictures.
Yeah.
To take pictures.
Absolutely. But we're not going out there trying to fill the barrels when we go to different states. We're just going there to get good quality video and good video. But it is a very good question because we do end up with fish. And what do we do with them?
Yep.
For example, that one year, Tim and I were down in Tennessee. We were shooting reelfoot.
Yep.
We were filming. And we had some good nights. We got some nice grass carp, some good buffalo. And... right there, we didn't know what to do with the fish. So, there was a museum right there close to Reelfoot.
Yep.
All right?
Yep.
And it's actually a bird sanctuary as well for injured raptors like eagles and hawks and a whole variety of different, hawks and eagles and stuff like that. So, we actually stopped there the next day when we had our fish. And we asked them if they would like to take any of the fish that we had to use them to feed their birds.
Right.
You know what they said?
Heck yeah.
Absolutely. You bet. What was really cool about that is they took us in and we helped them put a lot of the fish in garbage bags and we put them in the freezer.
Sure.
And then he said, now come along, let's go feed some eagles. So we grabbed 2 grass carp and he took us into the eagle nest.
Yep.
Or not eagle nest, but the kind of like
they're
holding area. It's a bunch of big nettings that hang way down the sides. It's a bunch of big nettings and stuff in there. So we went in there, and we got some awesome video because these golden eagles were flying, the best they could in there. And we put the grass carp in there, and they use that for feed. So if you're out of state, check with zoos.
Sure. Yeah.
I get people that call me when they're coming up here to Wisconsin to shoot the AMS Big 20. Hey, what do we do with fish if we shoot them the night before? farmers. I tell them, go talk to some local farmers.
Yep.
They'll be glad to take them and use them for fertilizer.
Yep. We do that a lot.
Absolutely. That's what we do with the fish back here in Wisconsin.
Yes. Yep.
We work with those farmers. But remember, when you're doing that, pay them back a little bit.
Right.
Give them something. See what they want. A case of beer goes a long way.
Yep, exactly. Exactly. And it's easy for us. If we go out and shoot fish, if we're shooting a tournament or something, we don't have to, on the way back, we're not thinking, oh gosh, we got to go drive back in the woods and dump these in our woods or something. It's very easy for us just to pull off out there and dump the fish and we're done with it.
Absolutely.
That's huge.
It's nice. We can go there whenever we want. They see us driving in. They know what we're doing.
Right. Right.
But give them something for letting you, dispose of your fish the proper way. So get them gift certificates for fish fries or somewhere going out to eat or something. A case of beer, like I said, goes a long way too.
Yep. Absolutely does. Absolutely.
But that was really cool down in Tennessee. We took the fish to that bird sanctuary. They used the fish there. Another thing that I really like to do when I'm going to Kentucky is I like their rules down there as far as disposing of fish. You can sink fish, down there in the Kentucky area.
Yep.
And there's a lot to be said about that, if it's good, if it's bad. The proper thing that needs to be done with that is you need to do it the proper way. Mm-hmm. You just can't shoot a barrel of fish and then take them up between the channel markers and then just dump that barrel back into the water because a lot of those fish aren't going to sink.
No, not at all.
You need to puncture that airbag. Mm-hmm. And one thing that's really nice on the big heads and silvers down there is they have very tiny scales. Mm-hmm. So we use our gaffs, and you puncture them in the airbag area, and you can actually hear the air.
Yeah, you can tell. Yep.
You can hear it coming out when you hit that, and then you put them in the water, and we sit there and make sure that they sink.
Yep.
And if one doesn't sink, we're going to troll back to it and gaff it and get in the boat and get that airbag to sink, to pop and then the fish to sink.
And usually when you do it right and you pop that airbag and there's no air left in that fish, they sink pretty darn fast.
Right.
They're going down. You did it right.
Right. And what's going to happen to those fish? They're going to become food for a lot of different species. Turtles down there are going to eat that. The other, and they're going to get torn up, and there's going to be small fish eating on the remains of that for a long time. Mm-hmm. So they get used up. There's no doubt about that. And I like that rule. Now, I hear a lot of people say, well, why can't you do it in Wisconsin? We shoot many carp up here, and it's hard to puncture that airbag. Yep. And a lot of the lakes and flowages here in Wisconsin are littered with homes and cabins.
Yep.
And for that system to work, it needs to be done properly. And if it doesn't work properly,
you're going to have complaints of people that don't like it, not a fan.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, because like I said, it takes one bad apple to ruin a whole dozen.
Yeah, exactly.
So it needs to be done properly. But here in Wisconsin, we've got local farmers that we work with that allow us to take our fish and dump them in their manure pits for fertilizer, and they love it. Yep. They never have any issues. We never had any issues with anything, getting clogged up or jammed up. It works great that way. The last thing that you want to do is dump them fish in a ditch.
Terrible.
It just makes me sick when I see these people that you took the time to lay all these fish out at a boat landing to take a picture, and then you leave the fish.
Yep.
That's terrible.
I know.
That's terrible.
I know it happened here around Stratford last year. Mm-hmm. Someone was dumping their fish at DNR stations.
Right.
And just what a terrible look for the bowfishing community, and that's not what the bowfishing community is. I mean, like you said, it takes one bad apple, and everyone who heard about that individual doing that, they're going to associate that with every single bowfisherman that they hear of. You just never want to be doing something like that. Dispose of them properly.
Absolutely. I had the game warden from out here in the media area call me and send me pictures and stuff, so I was keeping my eye open.
Sure.
Because I guarantee you, if I would have known who done that, I would have told him.
Yeah, exactly.
Without thinking, without missing a beat, I would have told him who it was.
Yeah.
So dispose of your fish the proper way, and that's a great question. Like you said, that asks about what we do with fish when we go to different states. I have friends in different states that let us, take them and put them in their food plots in the springtime.
Yep.
And then they cultivate them into the soil. Mm-hmm. That works really good. Farmers, pig farmers, zoos, raptor centers. Just got to look around and ask, and you'll be surprised at what you find out there. But like I said, give them something for allowing you to dispose of your fish the proper way.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yep.
Actually, you mentioned the food plot thing. I had a buddy of mine send me a picture. he would dump his fish in his food plot, and he was getting ready to plant or something, and nothing was really growing in the area, except there were like big tufts of grass,
Yes.
and things just sporadic, random, spread out in this. I'd say it was a good maybe an acre-sized food plot. He sent me a picture, and I said, "What in the world are you growing in there?" He says, "That's where I placed a fish when I would dump them back here.
Really?
Wherever that fish would decompose,
Yeah.
that's where it's growing up the best."
Cool.
So it works as fertilizer.
You know, it's funny you say that because years ago when I had my little 1860 bowfishing boat, I'd always pull it in the backyard to clean it out. And I open a drain hole,
Yep.
and I hose it out. And over the years, that spot where all that water would drain out of my boat, that spot in the grass got so dark green
Really?
and thick. Yeah, it was crazy.
Sure.
That was nutrients for the soil. Just that bloody water.
Bloody water, yep.
That's all it was.
Carp eggs
Yeah.
probably in there. Yep.
But it is great fertilizer, no doubt about that.
Sure, absolutely.
No doubt about that. And we had another question on our YouTube channel, and they were saying it was a husband and wife, and they've got a small 14-foot V boat, and they thought about getting in tournaments, but they weren't quite sure because they knew they probably weren't going to be very competitive in those tournaments, but they wanted to go in and have fun and enjoy the tournament atmosphere. And they just asked if that's okay to do that, go there with smaller boats. And absolutely, absolutely, that's what we are.
Absolutely, yep.
That's what we are. That's how we all started out.
Yep. Yep.
And the main thing is, if you've got a smaller boat, lower sides on the boat, where you're a little bit closer to water, you just need to know your limitations.
Right.
You don't want to take a small 14-foot boat out in Green Bay when there's 15-mile-an-hour winds out of the north.
Yep.
You just need to know your limitations. But as far as being competitive, you darn right you can be competitive.
Yep. I've seen some big tournaments get won by the smallest boat of the fleet.
Absolutely.
That enter.
Just think of the spots that they can get to that other boats can't get to.
Yep.
So absolutely, get in those tournaments and enjoy them. Like I always say, you're going to meet a lot of friends in those. So absolutely, get out there with your small boats and compete. I think it's great, like at our Big 20, when I see these teams rolling in and they got a boat in the box of their truck.
Oh, yes, yep. We'll see one or two of those every year.
I love that.
Yep.
That is awesome. That is awesome. That's what it's all about.
A note on those small boats, buddy and mine got a boat together. I told the story of it on a previous podcast, and it's a 1860 John boat, and there's nothing in it. I mean, it's bare and it's light. There's a deck, and there's a trolling motor, and there's a old 40-horse Yamaha motor on it. That's it. And we like it that way.
Yeah.
There was one time that we were trying to get back in the area. We could see fish splashing around, and we had to enter this skinny little mouth, and it was like 6 inches. And we're like, we need to get back there. There are fish to shoot back there. We actually got out of the boat, and on either side of it, we didn't lift it up out of the water, but we lifted and pushed. We got right through there.
Yep.
I mean, you couldn't have 50 more pounds in that boat, and it wouldn't have worked. But since we were light and mobile, and we went back there and we shot a bunch of fish.
Really?
Well, yeah.
Could you get the boat back across when you had more weight in the boat?
It was tougher to do it. Yep. That's a good question. We had to give it a little bit extra on the way out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got it back in there, and I remember thinking to myself, like, for example, the AMS boat, we wouldn't have been able to get back there.
Nope, you're not lifting that over top of some debris and beaver dams and whatever.
Exactly. There can absolutely be advantages to a small boat.
No doubt. So get out there and compete in those tournaments. And speaking of tournaments, you've got really looking forward to the Worlds this year over in Winona.
Nice and close for us.
Nice and close for us. We're going to have a booth there, so make sure to come by and say hello to us, and let's talk some bow fishing. I think we're team number 61. So
61.
Yep, team number 61 to take
All right.
off. So we're gonna shoot in a tournament, but I am not going to scout.
No.
I'm getting too old to scout.
All right.
I'm just going to go maybe a mile from the headquarters and put in and just go.
Well, I tell you what, a guy with your experience and expertise, I'm confident in whatever you want to do. We can go shoot the local zoo pond and we'll be okay, I think.
We'll probably get disqualified if we shoot the local zoo pound.
Yep.
No, but make sure to come by and talk to us at the Worlds this year. Like I said, we're going to have a little booth there and be all set up. So talking bow fishing, baby, let's talk it up there. team number 61. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. It's always fun to get the, we set up booths at tournaments all the time.
Yeah.
If guys walk past and you just ask them, what are you guys thinking? The vast range of answers that you get from different bow fishermen is absolutely amazing.
Oh, no doubt.
You'll get a guy that comes in and says, "I'll tell you what, I don't want to sound cocky, but if our fish are there tonight, we're going to be winning.
Everybody says that.
We're going to win." Then you got guys that come in and say, "Oh, man, there ain't no fish nowhere. We drove all the way down here and there's no fish." I mean, you get the highest of the highs and lowest of the lows. And more times than not, the guys that come in and say, "Hey, man, we got fish pinned,"
They ain't come back to weigh in.
Exactly. They're not even there the next morning to weigh in. You don't want to be getting too cocky, because those fish will humble you real quick.
Absolutely. One thing that I have learned not to ask at bow fishing tournaments is, so what are you seeing? You see anything? I won't even ask that anymore, because I'm not going to get
right
a correct answer.
Yep.
And when somebody asks me that, I don't like to lie.
Yeah.
So I just sooner they not even ask me where I'm going and what I've been seeing, because I'm not going to tell you.
Right.
I'm not going to tell you. That's just the way it is. So I never ask people where they're going and what they've been seeing.
When that does happen, a lot of times, for the last 2 years down at the Bass Pro, I was working the booth.
Yep.
I wasn't shooting the tournament at all, and a lot of times you'd ask guys, what are you feeling about the tournament? Are you confident? They'll ask you first, "Are you shooting in it?"
Yeah.
No. Oh, wow. Well, actually, right at this point right here, we got like a 60-pound grassy, and they'll get a little bit more in depth with you there. But yeah, they always ask that first, just to make sure that you're not going to go take their fish.
But yeah, John Laska is kind of getting that all organized over there. He's doing a great job. He's making posts all the time. One thing that we're doing here at AMS for that is it's kind of a cool little side pot for the Worlds this year. Is we're going to have a side pot for the closest carp to 21 pounds without going over is going to win an AMS ERAD bow kit.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Wow.
So that's going to be a cool little side pot from AMS there. You get a chance to win a ERAD bow if you get closest to 21 pounds without going over.
Sure. I love my ERAD. That's an awesome prize right there.
Yeah, it's a nice little prize there.
Wow.
And really cool that AMS is stepping up and doing that for that. Then, there's a tournament coming up. It's, April 6th already, a pretty big one down in Bossier City, Louisiana, the BPS US Open.
Yeah.
And same thing there. We're going to be set up down there, so come by and talk to us. We're not shooting in a tournament down there. We're just going there to set up the booth and talk to people about bow fishing. But we are going to go out and try to shoot some fish after the tournament.
Yeah.
Get out
if
for
there's
a
any
little
left.
bit. And then, of course, coming up in June, we've got the AMS Big 20.
I'm already looking forward to that. I love working it. I love everyone that's coming there, talking to people. It's just always a good time.
Absolutely.
It's fun to work.
Absolutely. So there's, like I said, if you want to check for tournaments, check social media, go to bow fishing tournaments, and you'll see a bunch of stuff coming up with flyers and stuff. So get out there and join them. They're a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Get out there and join the BAA. They've got free memberships and also paid memberships. So get out there and support the BAA. You said you want to talk a little bit about some bow fishing stories, since we don't have nothing recent since we've got all the snow, but we've got some.
Maybe we'll have some recent stuff after tomorrow.
Right.
To talk about.
I hope so.
Patterns and strategies and whatnot. But I know that when I listen to a podcast, and so they just tell you about crazy stories that they have in the woods or on the water. I always like those.
Sure.
I like hearing crazy stories. So I figured each of us could tell 3 little short stories about something that revolves around bow fishing to tell everybody.
Duck, you got written down for your number one.
Yes,
Duck.
That's the name of one of my stories.
That sounds better than poop deck or
TP on the poop deck. Yep. You're lucky last podcast when I read that on your notes that I didn't burst out laughing and just destroy the audio. Because when I read that you had that down in your notes, oh my gosh, I could barely hold it together.
TP on the poop deck.
Yep.
So you got Duck.
Yep. Should I start out with one of mine?
What's Duck?
You want to hear Duck first?
What's Duck Schmitty?
All right. Well, me and a buddy of mine, Kyle, he's the one that I bought the boat with. Probably 2 years ago, one day after high school, we're like, hey, let's go bow fishing. We did that a lot, saying, hey, let's go. So we went down, we went on Pete and Well flowage here in Wisconsin, and we were shooting a couple fish. Nothing too crazy, but it was fun.
What time? What month is this about?
I want to say it was like that July.
Okay, so
kind of getting a little later. It's tough to get on fish,
Algae blooms and a lot of
exactly.
lily pads coming up that time.
You go through a bay or a trough or something, and all you see is dust bombs. And there's fish everywhere. There's cattails moving like crazy, but you just cannot see them for the life of you. And that is so frustrating.
Big time.
Oh my gosh, is that frustrating.
Yep.
Anyway, we were doing the old chase tactic where we were getting on the trolling motor and kind of pushing fish up and then trying to get them in shallow enough water where that we could see them and get a shot off at them. So we're doing this and we're picking up, we maybe had a dozen fish in a boat after a couple hours, and we were way back in a little finger. I don't think we'd have gotten back in there if we didn't have the boat we were in. I mean, we were in shallow water and there were fish, and we were looking for very shallow water to try to catch a glimpse of these fish to get a shot off at them. And we nosed right up into some cattails, and you know how it is. They're fish, they skirt out around each side, and you're like, gosh, darn it.
Yeah.
Well, let's go do it again. So we did that a couple times, and we bury the front end of the boat up into some cattails. And Kyle's standing up there, and I'm getting ready to turn it around and do it all over again. And all of a sudden, up out of the cattails. Well, first I heard a noise in the cattails. That sounded like a bear. Yeah. Like a hibernating bear just rustling around and making all this noise. And it was making like some weird squeak noises. I'm like, what the? All of a sudden it comes flying up out of the cattails. Here it was a duck.
A big old mallard?
It was a big mallard, yes. A male mallard. It comes flying up, and my buddy's looking this way. The duck is coming behind him, and I looked at him, and I uttered these words that are on my sheet.
Duck, duck.
I said, duck! Duck! And he looks at me like, what are you talking about? It ended up coming around. It hit him square in the chest.
Oh, really?
And it was moving. It was moving. It knocked him silly, knocked him down, and he's sitting there, and we didn't know what to do. We're sitting there. This duck is dazed, sitting on the deck of the boat.
Oh, my God.
It's just sitting there, and we're both kind of like, what do we do?
Yeah.
It's just sitting there. It was like looking right at me. And you could tell it was kind of stunned a little bit.
Sure.
And I remember thinking, like, wow, how ironic is that? I just yelled at him to duck.
Right.
Duck. Literally, because he needed the duck or he was going to get hit by a duck. So the duck is sitting there. And after like 5 minutes, we're like, well, what do we do? And I remember I went up and I was just going to try to maybe touch it to try to make it fly away or to see if it was, I could, bring it back to a little bit. I remember my fingernail barely like grazed a feather. It went nuts. It went down it flew around. It hit one of the rails in the deck of the boat. And we're like, oh my gosh, I'm starting to feel bad for this darn thing. It went down into the pit of the boat, and finally it got up and out, and it flew away.
Oh my gosh.
And we just kind of stood there for a while, and we're like, you know what? That is a story to tell right there.
So,
duck, duck.
Did you yell duck for him to duck, or duck that there was a duck flying at you?
Both. The first duck was like, duck, take cover.
Yeah.
And the second one was telling him what to duck for.
Duck from the duck.
So it was literally, duck, duck. He probably thought I was like wanting to play the childhood game on the boat or something. It smoked him. It made like it was a thud.
Really?
I'm like, oh my gosh.
Like it beaked and penetrated.
Yeah. A couple days later at school, he's like, dude, he said, my ribs, man.
Really?
He had a bruise.
No
He
kidding.
actually had a bruise. I don't know if it's maybe where the beak hit him or something.
Right.
But yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's duck, duck.
Duck from the duck.
Yes. Yep.
Kyle duck from the duck.
Kyle duck, not duck, duck, goose, duck, duck, duck.
Duck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jeez.
Yep. So that's my first one. All right. How about you? What do you got?
Oh. I guess I got one that's called Frozen in One Spot.
Ooh. That's like what we are now up here.
You kind of referenced to it in the last podcast about something where the next day of the tournament, Alan and Adam asked me why I didn't shoot at that one small buffalo that was on my side.
Oh, boy.
I was kind of frozen in one spot.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of that movie Grumpy Old Men. You know, at the end of the show when they show all the little bloopers and stuff after that stuff? And there was that one where I can't remember which one of the characters it was, but he was sitting there and he goes, I can't move. I just farted and I'm afraid to move.
Yeah.
Well, this is how this was, except it wasn't a fart.
Oh my gosh.
Because we were shooting I was shooting with Adam Tobiak and Alan Brusky.
Okay.
We were shooting at Castle Rock in the WBA tournament there. And man, it was windy all night long. It was just a rough night. There was waves. We were bouncing up and down and running his fan and stuff. And it was just a rough night. There was a lot of fish, but it was just a rough night. And there was about a 10 to 15 pound buff that came on my side of the boat there. And
you were on one side?
I was on one side,
okay,
and Adam was in the middle, and Al was on the other side. And they all saw the fish, and I sitting there, and I'm watching the fish, and I'm just watching it.
Okay, it's within shooting range?
Oh, it's right alongside the boat. Oh. Yeah, on my side, and it kind of swims out to the front. And they're all kind of like looking at me like, dude, shoot. And finally it swam like in front of Adam and Alan, and they shot it,
Yeah?
We didn't say nothing about it, and then the next day they're like, dude, why didn't you shoot at that buff?
Yeah?
I was afraid to move.
Oh my gosh. And I'm scared to ask, but why were you afraid to move?
Because I might have had an accident.
Oh, geez, you were clenching the cheeks that bad?
Yeah.
Oh.
I couldn't move.
Oh my gosh.
I was frozen in one spot.
Did you eat some bad food before the tournament or something?
No.
So you're telling me that you think that if you would have adjusted yourself...
There is no way I could have drew a bow back.
Oh,
no.
Gosh. Oh, my Lord. What is with you and poop stories? Goodness gracious. That seems to be a theme. They're good stories, but... Oh, my God.
You know me.
That is true. Yep.
I'll drive 4 hours to get home.
He will not go number 2 in public.
No.
He'll go like a week without going number 2. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's crazy.
Truck stops are a horror story. Oh, gosh. No, I'll drive 5 hours to go home. Yeah.
Good Lord. That's crazy. I can absolutely see where they're coming from. And they're like, what the... Why isn't he shooting that? It's a chip shot. Yeah. Shoot it.
And after about, 10 minutes, it went away, and then I was fine the rest of the night.
And you were good.
It was just that time where I couldn't move. Yeah.
Good Lord.
It could have been an 80-pounder, and I probably would have had a hard time going back.
Okay, I hope you would have had an accident. I mean, that would be a crazy story. Yeah, I shot an 80-pound fish, but I had to pay a price to do it. Yep. Wow. Yep. Frozen in place.
Yep, so that's my number 1 story.
All right, that's a good one.
What's your number 2 story?
My number 2 story. You just told us the number 2 story. There you go. That should have been your number 2 story.
Yeah. Oh, darn it. I got to put these in order better.
Yeah. My second story is about when I shot and saw and experienced for the first time big head bowfishing.
Big heads, I love them.
Yeah. I was with you as like my second summer working here, and we were going down to Kentucky. We stayed at Dennis Redden's little home right on the lake there, which is very generous of him to let us do that. That's awesome.
Yep.
And the whole way down, you're telling me about these big head fish, and you pulled up a picture of a big one that you guys had shot in years past. And I remember thinking, that is the craziest looking fish I have ever seen.
No doubt.
So I'm thinking, I'd been bow fishing before. I'm like, okay, we'll run the shallows with lights on, generators running, whatever. I remember on the way down there, he said, no lights. No big lights on the boat when you're hunting big heads. And that's what it is. You hunt these fish.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm like, what? How do you see them? And spec ops lights on our bows. Mm-hmm. Remember we got down there? I think we drove, the 11 hours it takes to get down there in a day. And I think we went straight from driving. We drove right to a boat landing and dumped in, and we were fishing right away.
That's usually how we do it, yeah.
And it was amazing. We had the moonlight and the starlight. It was dead quiet.
So peaceful.
Mm-hmm. In the middle, I think we were on the Ohio River when we were doing it.
No generator running.
Generator. It's literally all you hear, and it's not loud. It's just the tiny little hum of the trolling motor.
Yep.
I'm like, wow, this is my favorite bow fishing right here.
Yeah.
This is awesome. And then you'll see it, and a lot of times you see it in the moonlight, you'll see a little ripple on the surface. I remember you saying, okay, that's one right there.
Or a little V or something.
Yep, something that gives them away. And we hit our spec ops lights, and I saw that fish for the first time, that big white mouth gaping, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't remember if I shot a couple times and missed, but I know that night I shot my first one, and when I brought it in and I saw that 5-gallon bucket mouth.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the body was kind of, none of the body comes close to the size of the head. I just remember thinking, wow, that's a cool fish right there. And it's even cooler the way that you got to go about getting them.
Right.
I just, and then I tell you what, you go back to doing, running generators and lights and everything, and you got fans, and you're yelling at each other, you're me away, and you got to yell to each other to get that. It makes you appreciate being able to whisper to each other, oh, I think there's one right there.
Yeah.
Get ready.
Yeah.
That's just a very unique. I remember it was Game 7 of the NBA Finals.
You're not a basketball fan.
It was Game 7. And I remember thinking to myself on the way down there, because you guys probably don't know this, I'm a little bit of a NBA fan.
Just a little.
It was Cleveland Cavaliers versus Golden State Warriors. LeBron was coming back from being down 3-1. And I was watching these games like religiously. I was like watching reruns, taking notes. It was kind of a serious little situation. And Matt said, "Oh yeah, we're gonna go out bowfishing that night." And I'm like, oh my gosh, Game 7, LeBron's making this crazy comeback. I'm a big fan of LeBron. I'm like, oh my gosh, how is this gonna work?
Stop.
I'll save it right here.
Stop.
We bowfished that entire night, and it was like 3 a.m. And I remember thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I got to check the score. I totally forgot about it. That's how much I just dove right into. That's how much I love that experience.
Cool. Yeah.
Yep.
That's awesome.
He won, by the way. Cavs won.
Just so you all know, Derek's got a little thing for LeBron. He's got candles in his house and LeBron on him.
Okay. No, that was a gay gift. That was
candles with LeBron.
I don't light them very often.
Oh my gosh.
Well, he is the best basketball player to ever play, so
no, he's not.
Pay your respects.
Nope. Old MJ.
Oh,
MJ's the GOAT.
Oh, of course. We could have a whole separate podcast on that.
It gets pretty fun here at lunchtimes.
It does. There's some heated disputes. We could have a little sports podcast argument debate.
We could.
Type deal.
You've got just a ton of LeBron stats that you know, and you're just crazy about that.
I love the NBA. I love basketball.
Yeah.
So, but that was the silver lining about it, is I was worried about missing the game, and we went out and did it, and
That's cool.
I totally didn't even think of the game once until we were like loading the boat up. That's how much that absolutely just fascinated me. The big head boat fishing.
Did you look that up when we were heading back to Dennis's cabin?
Yeah, that's when I looked it up. I remember telling you.
You actually looked it up?
Yeah, the score of the game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't, because usually when we get done bow fishing at nighttime and we load the boat and by the time I'm out of the parking lot, Derek's sleeping.
No. Maybe once or twice.
Oh my
I've fallen asleep. And it's like for like 5 minutes.
Once or twice. All this guy does is sleep. I think that one year when we shot the Green Bay tournament, we went to like 3 different spots. Every time we loaded on the left, you were in the back sleeping. Every single time. And then you sleep all the way home. Gosh. I've never seen somebody sleep so much.
Sometimes I do get a little sleepy on those long bow fishing nights. Who doesn't? You're not human when it comes to that. Like, I'm pretty sure you haven't slept like in a month. You just keep grinding away. It's impressive.
I don't know what's up with you youngins. You just can't stay awake. You always fall asleep.
I need my beauty sleep, man.
Yeah.
All right, so what is your number 2 story?
This is a little different than a bow fishing story. It is bow fishing related, but it's going after alligators.
Oh, okay. Very cool.
A couple years back, I went down with Timmy Boy here from work. He was filming, and we were going on to film a gator hunt. But we're going to try to do something a little different, because a lot of times when you're on these gator hunts, you're in a fan boat or an airboat.
Yep.
And you don't have all the lights on. You're in one of their boats, and it's hard to get really kind of good video chasing down these alligators and stuff in an airboat. So I want to do something different. I wanted to try to stalk one during light, which really limits you because you aren't allowed to hunt gators during the daytime down in Florida unless you have special permits and stuff like that.
Okay, all right.
So you only have a very short window in the mornings to go out and try to stalk gators.
Okay.
But man, that was really, really cool. Trying to...
When you say stalk, are you meaning like a spot and stalk? Like
yes.
you see one and you're going to try to creep? Really?
Right. I was down with Joe Minshew from Central Florida Outfitters and Gabe White. And never met them before. I've talked to them before. And really great people. Joe let us stay in one of his campers by his house there. And,
oh, wow.
And his buddy Gabe White had permission on this huge chunk of property. And there was probably 10 or 12 separate big ponds.
Okay. Wow.
Connected to canals and stuff like that on his property. And it was really cool because Gabe White was retired reliever pitcher for the New York Yankees.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And just a super guy, just a great guy. And he had this huge swamp buggy and all lifted up with these big skinny tires on it. And we would drive around in that, and then we would drive close to these ponds and then sit back and glass with binoculars to see if there's a gator, up sunning himself.
Yep.
And we had several opportunities. We got close to a couple of them. But what's really cool is some of the video, now we didn't get the gators that we were after, but some of the video was really cool because what Gabe and Joe would do is they would drive around to the other side of the pond and film us trying to stalk the gator. So they could see, all the way across the pond, they could see that gator, and then they could see us in the far background making our way to try to get this gator.
Oh, that's very cool.
But it was extremely difficult. I never did see a gator while we were making the stalk.
Okay.
Every time we would get close, it took off and was in the water.
Really?
So they must have been feeling our vibrations. We were even going barefoot and stuff like that, trying to get there in snake infested fields and stuff. It was
really.
like, oh boy.
Oh my gosh.
Big spiders and stuff, but I never did get close. So what we ended up doing is we found a 10-foot gator, and we went, and Tim and I went and we set up in a bunch of brush. Mm-hmm. And the gator was in the middle of this pond, and we called it. We called it back to us. It was really awesome footage because you can hear I was calling to this gator, and it would react to me. You could see it reacting.
Really?
First, you would just see the top of the head. The rest of the body was underwater.
Yep.
And then when I made the calls,
you were just doing it with your mouth like this?
Yep.
Really? Mm-hmm. Wow.
When I would do that, you could see the whole gator's back come out of the water, and it would turn and look back at us.
Oh, wow.
Then it would sink, so I could see the top of his head.
Yep.
So I'd do that, and you could see its body come up out of the water, and it would swim a little bit to you and then sink, and I could see his head. And this went on for about 35, 40 minutes, and then he would go down a little bit further. And finally, we had it in range, and it was coming down along the bank in front of us.
Yeah.
And the gator's getting there, and Tim is behind me. It's an over-the-shoulder.
Yep. Good. Everything's setting up to be real nice.
We just called in this 10-foot gator. Everything's just phenomenal.
Yep.
They're filming from the other side of the pond.
Oh, yeah.
This is going to be awesome.
Yep.
And the gator's right there. It's swimming now. It's coming in front of us, and it's swimming by us. And I kind of raised up, and I drew, and I shot, right over top of its jowl area. Yeah, I missed it.
Oh, wow.
I missed it, but what an experience
I was just
that
gonna
was.
Say, that had to be crazy.
We had this gator coming in really close the first time.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, something just erupted behind us. Scared the heck out of us. And the gator, the water just erupted, and we turned around to look what was behind us, and here we didn't know it. There was a herd of cattle walking up behind us.
Oh my gosh.
And they saw us and spooked it, and they took off running, and then they spooked the gator.
Sure. Oh.
So we had to go through the whole process again. We had to come back a couple hours later and try it again. But, and kneeling there in that grass, ants were biting the heck out of us. It was crazy.
And you're barefoot.
Not at this time, no.
Oh, no.
Not this time. We had our shoes on when we were sitting there. But just sitting there crouched, your legs get numb and trying to raise. But I think the reason that I did shoot, and one of the reasons that I probably didn't have my best shot was I knew I was going to be coming to full draw and probably holding a little bit.
Sure.
So I was shooting with the loop on my string with the release, which I never do when I'm bow fishing.
Right.
And I probably shouldn't have done that.
You think that if you went ahead a loop and a release and you just shot fingers that you could have put a better shot on that game?
I might have been able to,
Yeah.
just because I've never shot release bow fishing before.
Right.
But how cool of a video that would have been if we could have had all that work together. But
Dual angle and
I missed a
everything.
shot. You know,
Yep.
I missed a shot.
Everybody does. That's
You know, and it's really heartbreaking because you go from Wisconsin all the way down to Florida. You fly down there and get set up, and everything's just right. Mm-hmm. And then I screwed up on the shot.
Yeah.
I screwed up on the shot. But that's part of it, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like hunting. I mean, everyone shoots and misses.
Right.
You know, if someone tells you they don't, they either haven't been doing it long enough or they're lying.
Yep. That's why they call it hunting, not killing.
Exactly. Yeah. Wow. That's quite the story.
Yeah, it was
That's
it was pretty cool.
All right, so number 3 for me is titled Fish Palooza. This is probably my favorite story of the 3. Duck was good, but
You have all these little abbreviations up there.
I do.
too, and
I just have
no
to make
idea.
sure that I cover all those because there's that many little things that are going on in this story.
Does GF mean you were fishing with your girlfriend?
No, that means I had an angry girlfriend.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I'll let you go ahead with
Yeah.
the story here.
Yep. So, myself, my buddy Kyle, who's in the previous story, and then 2 other buddies of mine, Caleb and Reese. I think this was like my second spring working here. You had talked about the buff spawn and how crazy it is, and I saw the footage and stuff from our, the H2O Junkies videos and our
Sure.
DVDs and whatever. And I had never experienced it before. I didn't know what it was about. I knew that it was getting close. And Caleb and Reese contacted myself and Kyle and said, "Hey, you want to go bow fishing?" This was like a Friday night. "You want to go bow fishing?" We actually went to the Mississippi River that night. We're like, heck yeah, that sounds awesome. So we loaded up and we went out and we bow fished in Mississippi. We were shooting some commons. It was a good night. We shot some nice fish, know, and I think we bow fished it. We bow fished it through the night, and then we that morning till like noon, we kept bow fishing it. And we were thinking that we're trying to catch the common spawn out
Sure.
of Mississippi.
Okay.
Some big, just fat
Yep.
pigs.
Yep.
And we were like, they're this close.
Yeah.
They are this close. Like, it could be a couple hours between. If we leave right now, we might miss it. We might miss it totally. So if I remember correctly, we bow fished that Friday night. We bow fished through the day Saturday, and then we bow fished it Saturday night. And we would like sleep in the truck every couple hours or something just to try to keep up on that. And they never went like we thought they were going to.
Yeah.
So on our way home, we stopped at a different. I remember Reese just saying, "Well, let's just pull into a boat landing and just see." I'm not going to mention the body.
Were you sleeping?
I was sleeping.
Okay.
I was fast asleep in the back seat. And the reason I have GF, an abbreviation here, my girlfriend at the time was not happy. I mean, we were supposed to hang out or something that weekend, and I was gone.
It's bow fishing time.
I tried to tell her. So I'm sleeping in the back seat, and they're like, "Well, let's just try this. Let's go to this one boat landing on this body water and just look around and see."
Yeah.
We're all crazy tired. Not to mention, when we were driving to this other body water, it was maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours away. We ran out of gas in the truck.
Oh my gosh.
All of a sudden, we're coming to a stop, and one of the guys is like, "Yeah, we're out of gas."
Oh my
We're like, "Whoa, that's a big problem." We siphoned gas out of the boat into the truck to be able to make it to a
Really?
gas station.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
And then also on that drive, I don't
gosh.
remember where it was, but good buddy Reese, we were driving down, and he looks out the window and he goes, "Oh my gosh, look at those coyotes." I'm like, "What? Coyotes? What are you talking about?" Maybe it was the lack of sleep getting to him or something. He's like, "There's a bunch of coyotes just like sitting in that field over there." So we like stopped and backed up, and we're like, "What? Coyotes? What is he talking about?" Here there was like 3 sandhill cranes.
Oh my goodness.
He's like, "Dude, they look just like coyotes." So at this point, we're like deliriously, we don't know what is going on. We're running out of gas. We're thinking that sandhill cranes are coyotes. I mean, it's just, haven't gotten good sleep.
Girlfriend's mad.
Girlfriend's mad. It's just craziness going on. So I'm like, gosh, we need to pull in this boat landing, and then I need to go home and get some sleep, and just, this is crazy. We pulled in to the boat landing of this mystery body of water, and I remember pulling in, and on the left side there's lake. Mm-hmm. I'm like, what is going on? What is splashing all over the place?
Not frogs.
I'm like, what the heck? I said, hey guys, what is going? Look it over here. And of course, Caleb and Reese had experienced the bus bomb before.
Yeah.
And they said to us,
get out.
We hit it.
Yeah.
And the craziest thing is, we pulled in at like right when it was getting light out in the morning, 7:30, 8 o'clock. We were the only boat at the boat landing. And he's like, okay, get ready. And I'm like, what? Okay, I don't know what this is. I remember getting out and going to shore, and for the first time I saw males, pushing up on females, buffs everywhere. I remember my jaw just dropped.
Yeah.
I mean, it was full out. I have yet to experience anything like that to this day.
Really?
It was absolutely wild. And in the 4 or 5 hours that we ended up bowfishing that day, we did not think about anything else. We didn't think about coyotes or sandhill cranes or girlfriends or running out of gas or tired. Even though we were dog tired, none of that mattered because it was absolutely wild.
Fish on.
And in the 4 hours ish that we were doing it, at first you shoot any fish you see.
Yep.
You just want to shoot some fish. Mm-hmm. Then you get to the point where you're like, okay, there's males everywhere. I'm gonna wait for the big female.
Right.
I think the biggest fish out of us 4 was a 44-pound female.
Nice fish.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. And it got to a point. I mean, it was just wild. You'd have like males that, I don't know if it was just because they were such in the mood. You'd swear they were like pushing up on your legs.
Yeah.
It was just bonkers.
So you're shooting them from the water. You just got in the water. And
We shot them from shore for a while. Then we went out in the boat, and I remember all of us saying, "This would be more effective if we just all kind of split up and just waited."
Yeah.
And that's what we did, and we probably shot 80% of the fish that we shot waiting in the water.
Cool.
And then we threw them up on shore, and then we'd come around with the boat and pick them all up.
Yep.
And whatever, and that was a blast. While we were doing that, I think that we shot like 250 fish in those 4 or 5 hours. Mm-hmm. And I mean, if we'd have kept the rate up that we were doing it the first hour, we could have shot a whole lot more.
Could have sunk the boat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We were in an area, and I was chasing one female. She was big. She'd have probably been the biggest one of the day, and she kept working down a shoreline, and I kept trying to go after her and whatnot. Mm-hmm. I tell this story to people. I don't know if I've told it to you. No one believes it, but I swear to you it happened. You get into some stuff and you sink up to your knees sometimes, and you're like, oh gosh, I gotta get out of here. You gotta unsuction your foot from the mud and everything. And I remember I found like 2 rocks to stand on, and she was getting away from me, and I was gonna go back to the boat, and so I found a rock. Okay, I'm gonna put my right foot there, and we were barefoot because we didn't want to, you ruin your shoes and socks with mud. And I found, I can't find one. There's one with my left foot, and I'm sitting there, and we were all split out, shooting different fish. And it was one of those days. It got warm, and the sun was high and pounding the water. The common started going.
Sure.
It was just, I've never experienced anything like it, and I may never experience anything like it ever again in my life. But anyway, I'm sitting there on my 2 rocks, kind of just surveying everything, and I'm thinking, like, why is the water getting deeper? It was like above my knees, and all of a sudden it kind of started getting a little bit higher up my legs. I'm like, what is going on? And then pretty soon I'm like doing the splits. I'm like, am I pushing the rocks out from underneath me? What is going on? I swear on the Bible this is true. I looked down, and the rock that I put my left foot on was the shell of a snapping turtle, and it was moving. And you know what? Okay, so my right foot was on a rock, and it started going out into the deeper channel, and I started doing the splits. I didn't know what was going on. I lifted my left foot off that faster than I have ever moved in my life.
Oh my God.
And I think back on it, and I'm like, I was nudging around with my foot, trying to, okay, that's a rock right there. At any point, I could have freaking lost some toes.
You could have been toeless.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. That just capped off that crazy trip.
Wow.
I mean, it was just, but yeah, that is a very fond memory. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
A lot of fun. So.
You always remember that stuff.
Yep. Mm-hmm. That's my 3rd and final story.
Cool. Well, my third story takes me back down to Kentucky.
As many stories do.
Yeah. It was a great day. I was out with Dennis Redden, and we were filming. It was just him and I in the boat. He'd shoot a fish. I'd be filming. We'd swap.
Yep.
He'd shoot a fish. I'd film. I'd shoot a fish. He'd film. We were just kind of going back and forth that way and doing that. And the buffs were spawning. It was an awesome day. Bluebird skies, not a cloud in the sky. Sun was nice and high. It was just awesome. Water was clear yet. There wasn't a lot of fish moving in there, so you could really see we were getting this awesome footage.
Yeah.
And we had shot I think it was like a 68-pound big head on film.
Jeez.
And we got that all on film. It was just really awesome. And we had to be back at the boat landing at 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
Because Dennis's wife was going to drop off Dennis's 2 grandsons.
Oh, okay.
Ty and Mason.
Yep. Great kids.
10 and 11 years old.
Yep.
So we did our stuff. We shot some fish. We filmed. We did some closings and stuff like that. And then we went back to the boat landing and waited. And the kids came down. They had sub sandwiches. And they saw the fish in the boat. And their eyes just, boom, just got huge. And they were like, oh, my gosh. And
Was Cody with you guys, too? On that trip?
Cody.
Ty and Cody?
Cody. Yes, Cody. Did I say Mason?
You said Mason.
Oh,
yeah.
my bad. Yeah,
that's where I was like,
yeah.
Cody, Mason?
Ty and Cody.
Okay, yes, gotcha.
Ty and Cody. And so we picked them up and we took them back out and we were filming them.
That footage
shooting
is
at
awesome.
fish. It's awesome.
Yep,
And they were shooting at gar and they were shooting at carp and they were shooting at buffs and we got film with them wading in the water shooting at
the
gar.
when Cody shoots that gar, he does he just does a big old fist pump.
He does a big old fist pump.
He was jacked up.
And it was just really a special day to be on the water with those kids and Dennis, and we had some awesome footage going. And I can remember Dennis was up on the filming platform filming, and we were going back into this little cut, and you could see a big wad of fish spawning.
Okay. Yep.
And as we're getting closer to that spot, Cody draws back and he smokes a buff.
Okay.
All right.
Cool. Yep.
So his line is going way out, and I kept watching this pile of fish that were spawning.
Yep.
They're getting closer. And they're getting closer, and Cody's fighting his fish, and like I said, his line is out there.
Yep.
And this wad of fish is getting close now. You can see that the female is now swimming.
Okay.
And you can see the males are behind her.
Yep.
They're not pushing, they're swimming now.
Okay, yep.
And these fish are getting closer to Cody's fish that he's fighting.
Oh, okay. Yep.
So finally in this wad of fish, I saw the female.
Yep.
And immediately I said, Cody, drop your line.
Yeah.
This buffalo was enormous. I could see her.
The big female.
The big female was just ginormous.
Okay.
And I remember looking at the dentist and I says, you got it? And he goes, yeah. Yeah, I got it.
So he saw
He saw the fish too.
And was that little bit of wavering him like, oh my God, that thing is
And
huge.
I'll never forget on the footage, I said, oh my gosh, that thing is huge. And you can hear it in the recording of the video. Dennis goes, I know, and I'm up here filming.
Yep, I remember hearing that. Yep, he goes, yeah, the thing's a beast.
Yep.
I'm up here. He kind of gets high fish.
So,
yep.
Okay, we got Cody's got a fish on.
Oh, yeah,
And
that's right.
And it's right here in front of this massive female that's coming. I don't want this fish to splash around and scaring this big one.
Yep.
So I'm up there, and 10-year-old Ty Redden is on the side of me. And I'm like, all right, Ty, on the count of 3, we'll shoot together.
Yep.
So we draw back, and this fish is just enormous, just huge. Dennis has it all on film.
Yep.
And both Ty and I draw back, and we both release, and you can actually see the fish take off, and I think it goes underneath the line of Cody's fish that he has on, or something like that. But this fish takes off. Ty's arrow hit the fish and bounced out.
Okay.
Yep. I hit the fish, and it takes off in this massive V. It's like a ship taking off.
Yeah.
Just because the fish was in shallower water, and this huge V, it's leaving little rolls of white caps as it swims away.
Oh, my Lord.
And we knew it was a big fish and all that, and we get it up, and probably could have gaffed the fish or done something with it, but I said, Ty, give me a backup shot, you know?
Yep.
So 10-year-old Ty, we got it on film. He draws his little bow back, plunk, and he smokes that fish, and boosh, it takes off again and stuff like that.
Awesome.
And so we got that on film, and it's all cool and exciting and stuff. And we got the fish alongside the boat, and their kids are looking down at the fish. And I remember this fish coming headfirst up. And I remember looking at the fish and seeing how the girth that this fish had. The buffaloes always had that big hump on their back. Well, this one's hump was like double in
like
size.
nothing you've ever
nothing
seen
I've
before.
ever seen before. It was huge.
Yep.
And I remember gaffing that fish and lifting. Mm-hmm. That's when I knew that this fish was special.
Yeah.
It was like, oh my gosh. And I remember lifting the fish onto the side, into the boat, on the side of the boat, and turning up towards Dennis, not realizing what I was doing.
Yep. Okay.
I'm sitting here holding this fish, and I'm talking to Dennis, all right? And later on, when you watch the footage, the eggs were just pouring out of this fish.
Like a couple pounds worth.
Yes. It was like cream of wheat all over.
Yep.
And we put the fish down, and we knew it was a big fish, so we put the scale on it. The scale said, like 86 pounds, and we're like, holy cow. 86 or 88 pounds, it said, and we're like, holy cow. And I said to Dennis, I said, you know what the state record is? He's like, no, I don't know. So I'm on the phone. I'm calling Joe Nichols. I'm calling a bunch of people trying to figure out what the state record is and stuff like that. And told him what the weight of our fish was, and he called me back and says, I think you might have a possible state record.
Oh, my gosh.
You better do something. So we ended up contacting Andy Cardwell.
Yep.
And he met us at the dam, and we had an official scale there.
Yep.
And Kenzie was there, and who else was there? I'm trying to think. There was a cameraman there. The heck's his name again? Kenzie was named, but he was there to officially weigh the fish.
Yep.
And it was it ended up being a new BA state record, the Kentucky state record, smallmouth buffalo at 87.8 pounds. And it was just a really cool deal because I got to spend it with a couple of, a 10, 11-year-old.
Oh, yeah.
And I can remember stuff when I was little, what happened on special events, deer hunting with my dad, when I was young, being around all that stuff and seeing that stuff. And I know that these kids will remember that.
Oh, absolutely.
They remember that. So that's what was so special about shooting. Yeah, it was great to shoot, a big fish like that.
Right.
But to get it on film and then to have two young kids be part of that.
Right. Right.
To be part of that is really, really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why if you ever get the chance, take kids out on the water.
Yep.
They'll have a blast, and you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, last a lifetime.
You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's cool. Just you telling that, one, for Cody to show restraint, to not want to, just bring that fish
and
in.
He listened, right?
He just let go of his trigger and just let everything play out. And then Ty, having the wits about him with this mega fish, coming in, that he was able to put a backup shot in and everything.
He did a great job.
Cool.
Everybody did a great job.
Yeah.
And even Dennis filming, he got the whole thing on film.
The film is, it's hard to beat that. He's up on the filming deck. I mean, you can see the fish perfectly in the water. You can see in the frame when you shoot, you see Cody's fish. You see with Cody's the line fish. And everything. Everything's
in view. You see Ty and I drawing our bows back. You can see the fish coming through. You can see Cody's fish. I mean, it's just a once in a lifetime deal.
Yep.
It's like shooting a 170-inch whitetail.
Right.
Right.
It's
just a once in a lifetime deal like that. But I'm hoping to get back down there again this year and do some filming again with Dennis and taking his grandkids out again. We always have a blast doing that. But so that's some of our stories.
Yeah. Hope you enjoyed.
Some of the stories. We'll be getting back to hopefully some real bow fishing stories here soon.
Yes.
And like I said, we're going to be heading out tomorrow to do a little winter bow fishing here in some creeks and streams that are hopefully starting to open up. And
I know we got a couple guys that are shooting some fish around, so maybe we'll have to go try to get some spots from them.
Absolutely. So with that, I guess we're going to wrap it up. But first, let's do a little AMS product highlight here.
Sure, absolutely.
I think we should. Nice little product highlight. I think would be the Rips tips.
Oh.
Those are some high performance bow fishing tips. The way they're designed, the way they're cut.
You could see an AMS Rips tip on the end of a hunting broadhead, and think, oh,
right.
Okay, yeah, that's. I mean, they're sharp.
They're sharp.
They're sharp.
What they're made to do is penetrate those big scaled fish, grass carp, buffs.
Yep.
I don't know. Countless times I've seen arrows ricochet off the scales. I mean, it's armor. It's armor on the sides of those fish plate. Well, man, the Rips tips, that thing penetrates.
Yep.
That thing penetrates.
Side story on the Rips tips. My Fish Palooza story.
Yep.
How I mentioned that it was one of those days where the buffs were going crazy and the commons started later in the day. There was a female and 2 or 3 males pushing her. And throughout the day, I would have it where, you shoot into a cloud of fish. And I remember I had just gotten my ERAD, so it was at 60 pounds. So, I was packing a punch shooting those fish.
Yep.
And a couple times I would shoot and I would have 2 fish on. I'd be like, oh my gosh, I had a Rips tip on.
Yeah.
And we just had them new. I was trying them out.
Yep.
With the commons, none of them were real big. But I thought to myself, you know what? I'm a tall guy, lengthy guy. I drew back probably 30 inches, and I got down as level with the water as I could, and I shot. And I think for a split second, I had my Rips tip penetrated 3 fish.
Really?
It went through one, through the second, and maybe the barbs weren't all the way in the 3rd fish, but it pierced scales on 3 fish. Now, how many fish did I end up getting back on that shot? 1.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But at one point, I'm like, what is going? All 3 fish were reacting the same in my arrow.
Sure.
And then the 3rd one got off. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to bring this. And the 2nd one got off. I'm like, oh, no one's going to believe me.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right. Yep.
But yeah, they're sharp.
They are. And they're, like I said, it's a high grade stainless. They fit all quarter 20-inch threaded points. And there's some cool tips. So if you want some high performance tips, check out AMS Bowfishing's Rips tips.
Yep.
And they're available in packs of 2. So that's our product highlight of the week is the AMS Rips tips. But from all of us at AMS Bowfishing, best of luck. Keep asking us questions. We'll get back to some of these on our podcast, on our next podcast. But from all of us at AMS Bowfishing, best of luck on the water, and we hope you enjoyed episode 5 here of some bowfishing stories. Remember,
aim low,
think big.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Take care.